Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. So it's Cypher Sigma here. It is a week, and yes, and it is the second movie review. So I've been pumping them out of late, and this is a big, bold, beautiful journey. So this is essentially supposed to kind of be about a love story. Stars Colin Farrell as David and Margot Robbie as Sarah. We have the only other kind of main people that I've seen, and it was Phoebe Waller-Bridge as a female cashier, and Kevin Kline as a mechanic, as their official titles are. And then we had the director called Kogo Nada. If I've pronounced that right, if I've butchered it, I do apologise for it. Anybody who's seen the trailer, it's kind of these two individuals meeting and then going through these doors and experiencing events from their life. And then it kind of seems like they are linking it to be some sort of attraction comes from this. There is stuff when the trailers are playing up, you have a scene that is kind of depicting the background of the two characters dancing, and then at the very end there's a sound file of a door opening and shutting, which is obviously remnants of the doors that these experience. And I thought it was okay, and that's what's in it. Maybe you want to go. So we'll put the spoiler warning up as I normally do, and we shall get into it. So as I said, this so we have the film starts with David, who is essentially the main I would say he's the main character. He has a little bit more focus than Margot Robbie's character. He's speaking to his parents on the phone. They're telling him he's special and to open his mind and all this stuff. He gets to his car, it's been clamped, and there's a bit of paper on the wall that basically says there's like a rental service, has a little broken heart underneath it. And then obviously phones up. He turns up at this service, which is basically a giant warehouse with a camera and with a mark. Sorry, the camera's at the desk, and you have Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Kevin Kline's character sit behind there, acting very weird. I quite like these two characters. I felt they kind of needed to be a bit more into it, but she's kind of this German lady, and then kind of switches to a normal voice, and basically they're asking him questions and stuff like this, and say like, "Oh, do you want this car? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, do you want the sat nav? You definitely want the sat nav if your phone craps out and all this stuff." Blah blah blah, and ends up taking it. Gets in the car and basically drives off to his wedding venue that he's going to. As he pulls up, he gets out and goes into the hotel conveniently, just as the chauffeur, concierge, whatever, the person who drives the valet, that's the person who gets in his car and drives off. Another car identical turns up. Margot Robbie gets out of it. Obviously, then they meet at this wedding reception afterwards. They see each other with umbrellas in the beginning when they're walking down the aisle. They see later on, they kind of have a little talk to each other. He's basically kind of taking interest in her. She's kind of like, "I'm going to hurt you," blah, 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 blah. The next day, obviously, they kind of have a little bit of inspiration. She ends up going to bed with someone else. He ends up kind of having a bit of a nightmare because he said he wouldn't dance. Then the next day, they get in their car, or he gets in his car to drive home, and basically says, like, "Do you want to go on a big, bold, beautiful journey?" If you've ever seen the trailer, this is portrayed it. He goes up to this burger place and then meets Margot Robbie's character, who's also there, conveniently enough. They meet. They have a little bit of interaction, and then as they go, her car doesn't start, and she gets in, and they both go on this beautiful journey, which is essentially them traveling to different places over the span of what looks like a day, going through these different doors. And basically you have David goes back to his high school play, and then he tries to do a few things a little bit different, and then Margot Robbie's character helps him out, Sarah, near the end. Then you go to Margot Robbie's hospital where her mum has passed away, and she has an interaction there, why she's there. David comes across his dad and kind of has goes back to the experience of when he was born, because he had issues but he didn't know about, and gets to speak with his dad, which is quite heartfelt. Then they go to these other doors where you meet both of them breaking up with partners in the past, or where David, who was engaged, decides to not get married, and obviously Margot Robbie confronts a bloke who she leaves, goes away on holiday and leaves during the middle of the night. Kind of always confronting them that they then go to have a rest, and they go up this kind of walkway where they're overlooking the moon, and then they share a kiss, and there's kind of some intimacy there. And then essentially they have a kind of bit of a breakdown. They don't feel or there's something not quite right. They don't believe that a relationship will work. He takes her back to a car. The car flips over. He goes, "Dears." Car flips over. They have an accident. they go and stay at this hotel where the mechanic Kevin Kline turns up, fixes his car, and then they decide of kind of this won't work. They go back to their own cars, go to say they want to drive home, they don't want to go on this journey, then they turn up at different doors which aren't their home. David's is one from the night of him going back to his high school, and he ends up being in the body kind of his dad, playing his dad, talking to him. And Margot Robbie goes back to a scene when she's 12 with her mum that she gets to experience. At the end of Lee's, David goes home, kind of has a renewed life, sits down, drops the car off, when he gets there, he kind of has a go at him and says, was this all sort of planned? When they kind of see a headshot of him and they put it off, there should have been another woman, and they say, it was supposed to be this woman, but Sarah was a last minute, cancellation, Sarah stepped in, so blah, blah, blah. And then kind of Sarah has this like epiphany of when she gets in the car and goes to return it, that obviously she still wants the journey. She wants to relive a bit, or she wants to live the big, bold, beautiful journey. Turns up at David's front door. They kind of kiss and then they go, do you want to walk through one door? They walk through one door and that is it. The end. It's rated 15. It's an hour and 45 minutes. And I rate this movie a 5 out of 10. The way it's set, it does look nice and does look visual. And the acting is done well. It just is the way the story is wrote and the way the story is shot, you don't really relate to them. When you meet these characters, Margot Robbie kind of comes off of as a little bit of a, she's more interested in someone that, she's interested in him, but then goes and sleeps with someone else anyway. And as she said, she's bad for him. And you can kind of get the feeling that, she necessarily isn't a nice person. Not all seems like she can be a bit of trouble, stuff. And it doesn't draw you in. You kind of already have, you kind of like David, you kind of like him, but it's very surreal how the journey has started off. And obviously you get the idea, you get they're supposed to be together, you see the broken heart stuff, you kind of know where this is. And then it's good that they revisit it. When they go back to school, there's this play that I have no idea what it is. I have no idea of the songs. So again, I could not connect with that at all. It might be obscure. It might be more for like Americans or something like this. No idea. So that was completely lost on me. And through this, I'm not really bonding with the characters. I'm not really going, oh, they should really get together. I get it. They have their issues, but they're just, the acting from both of them was really good, but it just didn't feel like there was the chemistry that they should have shared was being really shown on screen. And stuff like this. And then, as they go through doors, it was really good when David gets to speak to his dad, but then, and kind of his side of things. But, it was good, that scene of him speaking to his dad, but when he was speaking to his younger self, and I just couldn't connect with it. It just didn't draw me in enough. It felt like there was definitely missing, or just the way the story was devised. Just, I don't know if it's from a book or something. And even like Phoebe Waller-Cates and Kevin Kline, Kevin Kline's character comes in one scene near the end and he fixes their car, and I was like, I really wish that would have been more of them interacting. I feel because it's span over a day and stuff like this, and they're driving, it was very much should have been like they went to this wedding, and as they were going, they were given the umbrellas to kind of notice each other, and then obviously they get back and go back and give their cars to each other, and it's fine. But David's car wasn't padlocked; it was maybe damaged. He takes it to a garage because they both live in the same kind of area. And then he bumps into her, and as he bumps into her or beats her someplace, as they go to leave, the door then takes them to an event that they then can experience. And I feel like that would have been more fluidness of taking them in and kind of having a way to them to merge into each other's experience in their lives, rather than, as I say, this all kind of happens within a day, and near the end of it, they're both going, well, I love you. And I was a bit like, that wouldn't happen. You don't really get too much, and they haven't slept in a day and a half or whatever it is, the contract. And it just felt like something was lacking, and that if you take the story as a premise of two people meeting at kind of a wedding due to this agency that then kind of intersect their lives for them to become a couple, I think is a good idea. It's probably something that you've not really seen, or I cannot recall that I've seen, but how this was actually applied in this instance, as I say, I did not connect with it. I did by the end of it, I didn't care if they got together or not. I wasn't invested as much as I could do, and I felt like there was stuff that maybe they were the wrong people. Maybe they just don't have the right chemistry to be on this. It's five. It's worth a watch. Have you seen this movie? Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. Otherwise, I've been Cypher Screen Time. I shall definitely see you in the next one.